O que vocês vão fazer em 1 hora? Eu vou entrevistar o elenco de Sex and the City and Just Like That. Ai, meu Deus!
Yay!
Pessoal, estou escolhendo que maquiagem eu vou fazer para entrevistar Kristin Davis, que é quem? Vocês sabem? A Charlotte. Cynthia, que é quem? A Miranda. Ai, gente, vou entrevistar a Cima também. Ai, gente, sei lá. Foi um convite da HBO, porque a 3ª temporada de And Just Like That vai estrear em breve, muito em breve. E aí eu estive lá em Nova York pro lançamento da 2ª temporada junto com a HBO. E aí esse ano, pra 3ª temporada, eles me convidaram pra entrevistar as atrizes, algumas das atrizes online, né? É um processo que eu já fiz algumas vezes, a gente já postou aqui, né? Entrevistei a Selena Gomez, assim, entrevistei os atores de Bridgerton, assim. E aí é muito maluco, assim, porque você entra numa sala de bate-papo com jornalistas da América Latina, do mundo, enfim, todo. E aí eles vão chamando pra uma sala particular com os atores, as atrizes, cada um dos jornalistas. E eu vou ter 5 minutos com cada uma delas. Parece pouco, mas não é. Rende, assim, sabe? Dá pra conversar bastante e tal. Então, preparei minha pauta. Será que eu posso falar isso? Acho que posso. Assisti aos 6 primeiros episódios dessa 3ª temporada, porque a HBO liberou antes pra mim, pra eu poder, né, saber o que eu ia perguntar e tal. Tem algumas coisas, alguns spoilers que estão embargados, então quando esse vídeo for ao ar, eu ainda não posso falar sobre o que eu assisti, principalmente esses spoilers, porque são coisas bafônicas. E eu ainda não posso falar o que eu achei também dessa 3ª temporada, do que eu já vi. Só posso falar isso um pouco mais pra frente. Mas é isso. Agora eu tô me arrumando aqui, vou começar a me maquiar. Ai, sei lá, gente. Sei lá. Tô pronta. Caprichei na parte de cima, né? Que é o que vai aparecer. Mas aí deixa eu mostrar a minha mesa de trabalho. Sério, gente, é tudo muito profissional mesmo. Que tal? Vocês acham que elas imaginam que elas vão ser entrevistadas por alguém que está atrás de caixas de papelão, uma bancada... Perfeito, né? Perfeito. Ó, já entrei aqui no link, tá vendo? Agora é só esperar. Tá aqui, ó, o anfitrião admitirá você quando estiver pronto. O meu já tô pronta. Vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Bora, que eu tô ansiosa.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Kristin, you have a podcast, which I love, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Where you talk more about Sex and the City and Just Like That. If Charlotte had a podcast, in what way would it be different and similar to yours?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I think if Charlotte had a podcast, I think she would be talking about mom things.
Probably,
or maybe she'd be talking about art. That could be a good podcast.
Yeah.
I think it would be obviously different because she wouldn't be able to talk about Sex and the City. She lives in that world. I feel like Charlotte would talk about mom things if she had a podcast.
So, in this 3rd season, Charlotte's daughters are now teenagers. Does that affect her relationship with her husband?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to think about that. I don't think it does. I think,
Really?
Am I wrong? Gosh, I have to think about this. This is a good question. No one's asked me this question. I think that when we came back for And Just Like That, the kids had a lot going on.
Yeah, it's
and I
true.
feel like that was really challenging. And I think that Charlotte really had to expand herself to kind of have room for how these children were going to show up in her lives and what they were going through. And I feel like she has done that for the first 2 seasons. And now I feel like things are better.
Yeah,
I might
it's
be
true.
wrong. Yeah, I feel
agree.
like they're a little...
No, I agree with you.
Good. I feel like things are a little more like harmonious at home with the kids.
Okay, yeah.
Which I like. I was really happy about
Me
that.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to Carrie in this 3rd season?
Me or Charlotte?
You.
Okay.
You, Kristin.
Not unlike Charlotte, I would say don't give up on love, but take care of yourself. And I don't know if Charlotte ever says that to her, but I would want her to say to Carrie, take care of yourself. Don't just think about them and what they need, which is funny because you don't think of Carrie as being that way, but I feel like this season she kind of is.
What would you like people to pay attention to about Charlotte in this season?
I think that Charlotte, and this is probably the second half of the season, so I don't know if you've seen it yet. She does get into a bit
No,
of
just Six.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna be the second half.
Yes.
Because of what happens in episode 6 when she learns about what's going on with Harry, she really goes into kind of like super caretaking mode, where she's just taking care of him and so focused on him and the kids that she really doesn't take care of herself. And that catches up with her in a way. Everything's going to be fine. I don't want to worry you, but it does catch up with her a bit. And I think that's something that I can relate to. And certainly a lot of people I know at this stage of life can relate to. Start to focus on everybody else and you forget about yourself. And that's a dangerous thing to do. You need to always take care of yourself.
Cool.
Uh-oh. You're breaking up a little bit. Uh-oh.
I think we lost her.
Oh, no. We can hear you now. We can see you and hear you.
Okay, cool. It's the last one. I love New York, I told you, and I want to know where you think I would find Charlotte in the city.
Well, you would find Charlotte on the Upper East Side of the city. You could probably go to Central Park and you might find her walking Richard Burton, probably downtown in the art world. Her gallery is in Chelsea, I think, and that's such a cool little part of town. But also, I think they go to some restaurants in the Village and in Soho. So she's kind of all over.
She's fancy.
She is fancy.
Thank you
Okay, great.
so much. Thank you so much.
Acabei de falar com a Kristin, que é a Charlotte. Ai, eu achei ela muito querida, muito querida. Eu gostei porque ela falou que a minha primeira pergunta era uma boa pergunta e a segunda ela me falou que ninguém tinha feito pra ela ainda. Yes! Porque essa mulher dá entrevista, né? Então imagina, arrasei. Tive um probleminha com a conexão. Acontece quando não se está pessoalmente. HBO, na próxima eu quero ir lá, tá? Sentir o perfume delas. Mas aí deu tudo certo no final, voltou e eu consegui falar de boa. Foi bem querida. Ela soltou um spoiler ali, hein?
Hi, Carol.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I will start this interview by saying that I was a little jealous of Sima and Carrie in the first season. Now, I love Sima and I think their friendship is wonderful.
Aww.
Did you watch Sex and the City?
I did late. Not when it first came out,
okay.
because it was on HBO, and HBO was very expensive, and I didn't have money, so I
Oh my God, really?
didn't see it. Yeah, but then years later, it was running on television, and I was like, oh my
Okay.
God, that show, I never saw it. And I watched one episode, and then, you get addicted pretty quickly, and then I watched another, and then I was like,
No.
oh my God, what is happening to me? And then I watched everything.
And did you relate to any of the characters?
I related to Carrie, which is so odd that now I'm her friend.
Yeah, Sima is a powerful, independent woman, and she doesn't settle for just anything. But she's still looking for love. Why do you think she needs to find this man so much?
I think the truth is everyone wants love. Of course, we're taught, we from the way we're raised with Disney movies, and it's in the form of a man. She's a good businesswoman. She also is a good rule follower in that way. So I think, though, in the show, you start realizing, she may be looking for a best friend. When you first meet her, it's business, finding love. Then she meets Carrie. They have these odd conversations sometimes. There was one scene when we did it, and I realized, Sima is treating Carrie at times with the same amount of effort she would put into a love affair. So I think it starts changing for her.
Which scene?
When they're under the umbrellas, there's a little heartbreak because she's like, you have this Hamptons house, you're going with your boyfriend, what am I gonna... I think in the first episode, she wouldn't have cared.
But I can't do this summer. That's not true. I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to spend a fortune having this feeling. We'll be fine. We will. I just need some space.
In this season, someone will try to change Sima's style. I want to know, what do you think of Sima's looks? Would you wear her outfits?
I would never wear her outfits.
Why?
Even though I love them, and when I wear them, I feel kind of like her. Like, I feel powerful, but I'm a jeans, t-shirt, a flat ballerina or sneakers. I like glamour, but glamour has to be just like with a red lipstick, not everywhere. I don't know how to do that. Maybe I know how to do it more now because of Seema, but that's not my natural.
What advice would you give to Carrie in this third season? You, not Seema.
Well, because I feel like I relate to her the most, it's tricky because one thing I like about her character, even when people give her advice, she doesn't really do it. She kind of does a few mistakes and you're like, what is she doing?
Yes.
But it's kind of who we are in life, you know?
You are humans, you know?
Yes. I almost wouldn't want to give her advice because I love her humanness. And it's why I love the show. Even though I play Seema, Seema doesn't agree with that, but Sarita does, yeah.
The last one, New York is my favorite place in the world, and I have been there a few times. So I want to know, in which area do you think Seema would find a good apartment for me?
For you? Oh my God, what? I don't know you very well. What do you like?
I don't know. I'm a classic girl, I think.
Classic, I would say West Village. Both
Nice restaurants.
Nice restaurants, you get good light in the windows. There's always something beautiful, like a little bookstore and a tree. But you also have New York, which is messy, dirty. You've got it all anyway.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. That's a funny question.
Bom, agora acabei de falar com a Sarita e foi muito legal. Eu senti que eu bati um papo pela primeira vez numa entrevista em inglês na minha vida. Tipo, sei lá, é uma sensação muito doida. E no final da entrevista ela falou que foi divertido. Então, sinto que fiz meu trabalho bem feito. Agora falta a Cynthia Nixon. E é isso. Vamos ver, vamos ver.
To start off, did you direct any of the episodes on this third season?
I did not, because I was filming, I'm on another show, The Gilded Age, and they were filming at exactly the same time for the first time, so there was no time to do it. Very sad for me.
What do you feel is the difference between acting in an episode and a direct one?
I honestly feel like when I started to direct on the show, it was like I got to sit at the grown-ups table. One of the things about being an actor, particularly on a film or TV set, you just have permission to be yourself. All your needs, your hair, your makeup, your food, even finding where you're going, everything there, everybody is there doing it all for you. And all you have to be responsible for is your performance. Whereas when you're a director, it's like being a parent. You're responsible for everyone and everything.
I learned a lot of things watching Sex and the City. And now, at almost 40, I learned watching and just like that. But I want to know what you learned from being Miranda.
I feel like that she was a little bit of a role model for me about being so outspoken and being so determined in her pursuits and also so loyal as a friend. And I also learned from her, maybe, I was going to say more in the new show as opposed to the old show, but both, that sometimes when you try and do things that you know are right and good, you don't always do them with grace. Sometimes you do them clumsily, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. Better to be clumsy but moving in the right direction than gracefully sitting in one place and never changing.
I totally agree. What advice would you want to give to Carrie in this third season?
When the season starts, she and Aiden have this very unspecified agreement that somehow they're a couple, but they don't live together and they're barely going to communicate. But after maybe 5 years, they will get to be together. And Miranda is, and I think Charlotte too, Miranda, but particularly is like, this is ridiculous. This is never going to work. You're crazy. I think her advice to Carrie is get real, wake up.
Yes.
You say this is a plan, this is no plan.
Many teenage girls are discovering Sex and the City because of viral TikTok videos, and some of them get mad at your characters in the 90s. What would you say to these girls?
I don't know specifically in what ways they're getting mad, but there's a book, We Should All Be Feminists, and there was a book that came out a few years ago, We Should All Be Mirandas. So I feel like the way Miranda was on the original series, sometimes she was very didactic and strident and, always hammering on do the right thing. But I actually think that a lot of Miranda's ideas are now the kind of what everybody accepts. So I don't know what they're mad at her about, but I would say, listen to Miranda, she's usually right.
O caos aconteceu. Minha internet começou a falhar, não sei o que rolou. Aí eu entrei na sala pra entrevistar a Cynthia e aí caiu a internet, aí eu desci correndo pra outro lugar, que estivesse mais perto ali do modem e fiz a entrevista de lá. Queria ter tido mais tempo com ela. Não sei, eu achei que... Não sei... É uma sensação doida, assim, vai acabando, né, fica um contador ali, a gente fica vendo um contador pra ver quanto tempo ainda falta, e eu não consegui fazer a última pergunta, que era sobre Nova York, infelizmente, e sobraram 30 segundos, e aí eu só, tipo... thank you e bye, sabe? Mas foi muito legal, é muito foda, assim, ter essa chance, sabe? Viver essa experiência, ver ali a pessoa te olhando e falando com você, sendo que eu me sinto amiga dessas pessoas há tanto tempo, sabe? Eu acho que ali na última pergunta, né, a penúltima pergunta que eu fiz pra Cynthia sobre as meninas adolescentes ficarem bravas, né, com as personagens, ela falou que ela não sabe por quê. Mas eu acho que ela sabe, porque depois ela recomendou um livro que eu achei muito mara, porque faz muito sentido, assim, com a narrativa da Miranda, sabe? E é isso, gente. Temos aqui um vídeo curto, porém muito especial, muito importante pra minha vida. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Desculpa aí os engasgos. Eu não sei como vai ficar a minha imagem, que vocês vão conseguir assistir, porque tava travando um pouco. Espero que tenha ficado legal, que dê pra gente assistir as entrevistas. E é isso. Agora bora assistir o resto dessa série, que eu quero saber o que vai acontecer, porque eu tô achando que eu assisti 6 episódios, que os próximos 6 é que o bicho vai pegar, pelo que elas falaram, hein? And just like that, eu entrevistei as minhas amigas de tanto tempo.